I've got to manage myself, I've got to manage my mind. The task is not easy, but to higher heights I climb.
I'm determined to succeed, so no excuses, please. If you don't want success in life, then don't hinder me.
Hello, everyone. It's Michael E. Parker, and we are here in studio, CEO TV Live, and I am so excited about this show. I told you about it last week, but it is now the new frontier bursting into 2021. Now, I know that 2020 has felt like something that just came and went. We almost feel like we didn't have a year, it just disappeared. And, you know, we've been talking about so much, and we've been keeping COTV Live going throughout this pandemic, having some wonderful shows. And we just came fresh off a wonderful series on Money CEO. And now I want to talk about a new frontier and start preparing you for 2021 right now. We are almost at November, and we are getting to the end of the fourth quarter of this year, and it is going to be very important that you're prepared to take the next steps with You Are a CEO. We've been working very hard, improving our technology, looking at different things with the different aspects of our models and strategies to really begin to get prepared. We've been having affiliate meetings. We've been having different things within our product to increase the engagement and support to all of our members. And now it's time to go to the next level. And one of the biggest things that's going to be about a part of this is understanding a new way of looking at things, a new frontier. Whenever someone went into a new area and they began to chart a new territory, they were called pioneers. It was called something that was new. And we are moving into something that is going to be very different, and we want you to be a part of it. So to explain more about this, I want to use tonight to give you some background and kind of explain what has happened and where we're going. So let's take a quick trip. So if you remember back in 2006, I know this seems like, light years ago, but 2006, Time Life said that the person of the year was you. And this is because the information age had arrived. And we were very, very clear that this information age was unlike anything we had ever seen. Things began to progress so much by 2006 with information, the explosion of how the internet was being used, had been being used well before that, but it started to really come into a fruition that we had never seen in the history of mankind. But it was ironic that by 2010, we saw that the person of the year was Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook. Well, what happened here? The person of the year was you, and it was me. But then by 2010, the person of the year was Mark Zuckerberg. And there's a reason for that, because he figured out how to use this time period and this situation to create an enormous business opportunity. And we can't, be upset about someone who had an innovative idea and they begin to create something, but there are some things that came from that we need to be aware of. And there's a business model that was created that at first seemed very harmless, but later it became much, much more damaging. Now, we can see that Facebook began to build a model. They were a trendsetter. And many, many people began to follow their model. They began to follow their approach. And the approach, again, of allowing people to use a platform for free and then be able to use that data was several years before they really, really understood how to maximize the business opportunity. They got all this attention, all this traffic, but what do we do with it? And then they began to build a model that began to appeal to advertising companies, and then that's when things began to take off. Well, when we start to see the harmful aspect of the fact that we are now caught up in a network that we didn't understand had some things in it that also was damaging. And not only that, the money being made in the particular industry was not something that we could share in. And so there's a twofold kind of evil that developed. Is one, what is the impact on us by using a platform designed this way? And then where's the money going? So that brings us to where we are now. Now, some of you may have seen this documentary that is now on Netflix called The Social Dilemma. And this is an eye-opening documentary that really begins to educate you about the extent to which that things have changed, where now we've gotten so sophisticated with our social media, with our apps, and with all of the different things that we see now that started off with the model that you saw Facebook really begin to blossom into, that are now getting deeper into our lives, deeper into our mind, deeper into the psychology of how we think, deeper into guiding our behavior. And it's designed that way because it has been very, very clear that advertisers will pay for the people to be engaged with their ads. And as a result, we begin to see a big shift where we became the product. And now, although we felt we were using something for free, we were caught in a social dilemma where we're enjoying something, not realizing what's being done using us as the product. Now, I want to share with you an article. Now, there's an article here that was written. Now, there's let me show you this group. So there's an article. Let me switch over here to share my screen with you all. So I need to, can you all cut my share on back there wherever you're at so I can share. Now, this is an article written by a group that is called the Eco Warrior Princess. And this is, again, a group that dedicates themselves to things that are green, things that are given back to society. And so this particular group, they wrote about the 5 key takeaways from the Social Dilemma documentary on Netflix. And so I want to just show you a little bit of this. Of course, we can't read this. You can read this on your own. But this documentary was very telling. And you can see, as it was said, the technology that connects us also controls us. And so we're in a new world where we see this is happening. One of the key takeaways that they identified was that we have a social media problem, and we need to acknowledge that it has become a problem. It is a part of our personal lives, and it is something now that must be managed. And so, you know, a lot of times we might think that this is not something that's really impacting us until we begin to understand how it really is shaping what we do. Now, I want you to notice a few things. Let me highlight some things in here for you. So when you look here, look at this statement here. If you're not sure whether you're addicted to social networks, I dare you to remember the last time you went a full week without checking any of your social media accounts. It's a pretty telling statement there. And again, this is something that is a reality of the society we live in today. Look at this a little bit further. Now, it also says here underneath here, it says, it is important that you realize the extent to which our continued exposure takes a toll on our physical and mental well-being. The more frequently we use social media, the more likely we are to grapple with poor mental health, anxiety, and depression. Now, this is not to go into all the details, but just think about that for a minute. This is really what we're dealing with now, and it wasn't the initial intent, but it's a reality of what we're dealing with today. All right, so another area that they pulled away from this documentary, which I agree with, is that social media really is designed to be addictive. Now, that's important to understand. It's designed to be addictive. So when you understand that, you have to begin to evaluate, how do I begin to manage this? What do I begin to do? Now, listen at this statement here. This is pretty telling as well. Now, it says here, the constant stream of retweets, likes, and shares from these sites affects the brain's reward areas and triggers the same kind of chemical reaction as other drugs, such as cocaine. Now, that is a pretty strong statement there, but it shows you how these things are designed. And so we've begun to learn how to use social media, sometimes even in just moments of boredom, not realizing what it's really doing to us. Now, this is why we need a more healthy way to use these technologies to support our life. Now, let's go a little bit further here. So you can see here, the third thing that they pulled out that's very important is that our children are at risk. And so they spoke to the dangers of our children, right? And again, you know, it went on to talk about how, you know, our children are more at risk even than the rest of us. And so we have to be more concerned about the time being spent on social media with our children. And this is another thing that, again, came out, which is pretty self-explanatory. Now, it also mentions about a gigantic increase in cases of depression and anxiety among young teenagers. And, you know, again, in the age of cyberbullying and trolling and all these different things, we can see why this has become such a damaging impact. Number 4, the governments are doing little to solve the problem. So the truth is, the government really can't keep up with the technology. And so we find ourselves in a social dilemma where we know it's something we can't just do without now, but then how do we manage it? How do we be responsible? We don't want the government to get into the free market and start dictating what businesses do, but then what do we do when something is impacting the whole country and the whole world in a way that can be unhealthy? So this is the dilemma, again, that extends even into the government and even into our day-to-day life. So this is, again, a key. Now, number 5, which is a big one here, is you can and must make the changes on your own. So we can't depend on anyone else to help us use these platforms responsibly. We must make these changes on our own. So this is a very, very important statement. And again, it's a CEO type statement, isn't it? We agree that we are the CEO of our social media experience. And this is what this is talking about as well. Now, I want to go back here to the presentation. So this is just giving you some insight. So if you haven't seen the social dilemma, I recommend you take some time, take a look at that. But let's go a little bit further into what is going on here. So all of this data is being pulled from all over the world, and that data is then being converted and filtered into money. And so this is being done in a model now that is strong, and it is well built, and it is something that now has been ingrained as one of the greatest business models in the world. So when you consider that, think about these numbers. When you think about digital around the world, there's close to 7.8 billion people on the planet. Over 5 billion, right, use mobile phones. And over 4.5 billion have internet access, right? And then over 3.8 billion is active social media users. Now, this is, again, just shows you how much these things impact us as a society. So this is something, again, that is in the fabric of who we are. And now we're in a question is being asked, how do we make this make sense now? Now we're in 2020. How do we make sense of all this? And how do we get more out of this deal that's been set up, where we're stuck in a model that's creating billions, but we're on the wrong side of the picture from a money perspective, and also we have to monitor ourselves from a mental perspective. Now, here's another element that I want you to keep in mind. When you think about the apps that gross the most money out there that are non-game apps, and you can see all of these apps and how popular that they've got. And so whether you're looking at overall revenue or the App Store or the Google Play Store, these are apps that are generating enormous amounts of money because they have properly built these things into their applications and platforms like we discussed. So we can see apps have become a critical part of our lives, a critical part of society. And this is why we need to understand how to use all this differently. How do we move to the new frontier? Okay, now take a look at this. This is pretty interesting. So when you think about how much money do the world's most profitable companies earn per day, this is staggering. Now think about it. This is profits per day. Now I want you to keep that in mind. Profit, let me look at you for a minute before I go further. Profit is revenue minus your expenses, and what you have left is profit, right? I mean, I covered all my expenses. This is profit per day, right? Now let's go back to the diagram. Now, give them a full screen there. Look at all of these companies, and I want you to notice, let's just use Facebook again, $61 million in profits per day. I want you to really, I can't stress that enough. That is what is being generated from a platform where we all say we pay nothing, right? Doesn't cost us nothing. Well, something's going on, right? $61 million in profits per day. Look at Apple, $163 million per day in profit. And when you look at the purple kind of ring there in the center, that's looking at the total profit. This is back in 2018. And in the lighter purple, that's $25 billion that you can see is being generated in the year. And then you can see in the darker purple up to 50 billion. Then it gets to 100 billion, right? This is 100 billion in profit in a year. I mean, just imagine. A billion is 1,000 million. So just think about that. This is the type of money that we are creating, that we are generating. We are doing the work. And the money is going to these platforms. Now, again, I mean, hats off to them. It's a great innovation, great model. But it's time for a new frontier. All right. It's time for a change. It's time for a new business model. So as you can see here, if you're not paying for something, you're not the customer. You are the product being sold. I want you to think about that for a minute. If you're not paying for something, you're not the customer. You are the product being sold. So I want you to consider that as we embark upon this new frontier. So this new time requires a new business model. And we're going to be going deeper and deeper in this, preparing for 2021, because we are going to have some explosive technologies and some wonderful new things that you're going to have access to that's going to make things even more powerful that you're already experiencing and you are a CEO. But let me explain to you this whole new model. Let's talk about the before condition. Attract users to a free platform to generate content and bring all your friends, right? That's how they start on Facebook. Bring your friends. Then use habit design and intrusive data analysis that gets all into our life. What we buy, where we click, what we do, what we watch, how long we watch it. This is all being done to keep people on the platform. And you learn about this really in detail on the documentary, The Social Dilemma, and how far this really goes in studying who we are, what we do, what we like, what we want. Everything is being monitored in ways you wouldn't imagine. Things are being suggested based on all kinds of deep algorithms that will help you to be interested and stay engaged. Now, the next step is to sell data to advertisers, right? That's really the customer, based on detailed user profiles. So they create a detailed user profile about me, that I like basketball, or I like the piano, or I like, martial arts. And they can show me things specific to me and what I like. And then the next step is, after you have these user profiles and they're being sold to advertisers, companies make millions and billions of dollars. Millions and billions of dollars. All right, so this is going to be the new frontier. And I hope you are getting excited about this. This is what we are about to embark on together. This is what is happening, and it's going to just be accelerated as we prepare for 2021, because we want to get everything ready for an explosive 2021. So the after looks like this. Invite people to join a network using technology to accelerate personal success. What if we could use some of those same algorithms, but that motivated you to be more successful, motivated you to be more positive, motivated you to be to advancing your career, motivated you to learn and do things that you wouldn't normally do, motivated you to be able to arise over things that are obstacles in your life. What if we could turn this technology on its head and use it differently? And now, think about it. The next step would be that the members of this network would use the technology to accelerate their life, career, and their business. And then members could invite people to join this same network, just like we've been doing for years on these free platforms. And we invite them to accelerate their success now, not just to use something that might be meaningless and doesn't really add value to us. And members now, for the first time, make passive income to create personal wealth. Now, I want you to look at this for a minute, the before and the after. I want you to notice those two different dynamics. Before is what's been going on all this time. The after is what we are about to share with the world, and we're going to use some of the same explosive technologies that we know have an impact, but this time we all can share in the success through an innovative model that compensates while giving us a product that's really making our life better. This is what we're talking about. This is what's on the horizon. All right, so imagine this. You share this information like I'm giving to you today. We tell them there's a new business model, there's a new approach, there's a new way of doing things. Those people sign up to join our network and you earn. And it's not just earned one time, it's a passive income that continues. Now, do you know how difficult it is to have passive income? I just want you to think about that for a minute. It takes a moment to get passive income. Money coming in where you made the effort once or the investment once and the money just keeps coming to you, right? You can buy a rental property. You got to find the property. You got to fork out the money. You got to make a down payment. You got to make sure the property is fixed up. You got to take care of any repairs. And after someone comes in and you pay off the mortgage and everything, if you can clear $500 a month, $1,000 a month, you're doing really good, right? After you consider everything, or the volatility of a stock market, right? Or the low amount that you get from a CD or a bond. There's so many different things. But what if you could make hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars per month doing something that is as simple as sharing people, giving people access to a network and sharing with them what is happening in this network, and the model is built to compensate them in a very aggressive way. This is what we're talking about, and we're going to take everything we've done and we're going to take it to a whole nother level. Now, I'm not going into full detail here because this is not an affiliate show, but we have an affiliate meeting coming up this week, and I'm going to be going in more detail about some of the things that are about to happen. But I want everybody to know there's a new frontier. There is a new pioneering movement, and it is time for something different. It is time for us to change the model. It's not enough to build a new app. It's not enough to come up with a new filter. We don't need a new thing that does something fancy. What we need is something that's meaningful to our life. We need something that's really, really helping us be better. And we need something that actually is built to compensate us while we grow individually. And this is what we're going to do. Now, I got an exciting announcement for you. I hope you've enjoyed what we've talked about tonight, but I got an exciting announcement for you. Now, you all remember this app that we've been talking about, Money CEO. Now, we went through this in detail, right? We had a 4-part series on Money CEO. We talked about all these different elements, and this is going to be connected to all your major financial institutions. Once you connect your financial institution, you do that once, you won't have to do it again, and every time you do anything in real life, in real time, it will update inside of Money CEO. And it's a completely safe platform. And that platform then, once it gets into Money CEO, you get to enjoy all of the wonderful benefits that we talked about over our last 4-part series. So again, the coaching you need, the ability to see how wealthy people think, so you can start looking at your money differently through the application, being able to plan out your bills, being able to plan out your financial spending, and being able to have discipline to do certain things because something is talking to you, communicating and showing you what you need to do. This is going to be a breakthrough application. I'm so happy because I've been, using the test app because we're working on it, and it is going to be a remarkable value add to your life. But what's the big announcement? What's the good news? Now, all of you know that are already a part of our network. Currently, people pay $49 a month, and they're a part of our network. And they get access to many different services, many different benefits, including our Mind Fitness app Uplift and You Are a CEO app, which has all of our learning, the 30-day challenge, and oodles of content that will help you grow personally and professionally. But guess what? Money CEO is going to be added to this same network membership. That's right. No additional cost. I hope y'all did. I don't know if y'all heard what I just said. I don't even know. I'm just going to let that resonate for a minute. No additional costs to our network members. We're going to beef up the value of our network, for the same $49 a month, you're going to get this breakthrough application. Now, I ask you, especially success ambassadors out there, for the value you're going to get just from Money CEO, not to mention all that we already have that we're paying $49 a month for, we're going to anchor our solution and we're going to overflow it with value. That when you go out and you tell the world that they need to join this network and you show them what they can get access to, it's going to be a game changer. And I guarantee you, when you hear about how we're adjusting our affiliate model so that it's going to be easier for you to work in teams, it's going to be easier for you to earn from all of the team's effort and not just your own, there are just much I want to tell you right now, but I'm going to hold off on that for later. But there's something coming where we're going to work more as a team. If you are a person that it feels it's hard to talk to people, it's hard to grow your network, you want to partner with other people, and sometimes you feel alone, we're making adjustments to our model where we can do that together. And we can increase the amount of earnings that we can all make, and we can do it as a united movement, as a united team, and we can build sub-teams within this great team and all earn together because it's a new frontier with a new model that will now include us in the growth and the performance of all that we're going to do together. And so I can't say enough about this, and I want you all to get ready. Talk it up. Get prepared. Keep bringing people to this URCO network. Get them in position because we're going to make some announcements very soon as we head toward the close of this year because the new frontier is going to come with a burst into 2021. All right, I hope you enjoyed this show tonight, and I want to now tell you about our next show. We're going to keep it coming at you, and our next show is called Help Me Talk. Now, I know you wonder what is this about, but listen. Talking is not easy. Talking to people, talking through different situations, trying to talk through business, talking as an affiliate. Those of you out there that struggle sometime and how to communicate, you don't want to miss this show. I'm going to have a special guest, and we're going to jump in to all the different ways we can use talking and communication to improve ourselves as a professional and to grow as individuals. I hope you enjoyed this show tonight. I'm Michael Lee Parker. From now until next week, get out there and let the whole world know that you are a CEO.